Hey guys, Aaron Cigarba here, and today in this video, we are going to be going into the life of a filmmaker. So today in this video, we're going to be going over what I do on a more or less day-to-day basis. So what we're going to do is we're going to be going over what my life looks like when it comes to going to classes, doing some of the work I have at the digital media studio, and also, of course, just me going throughout my day, doing film and movie stuff, all that kind of stuff, writing stuff, coming up with ideas for projects, all that stuff kind of covered in one little video of kind of my daily routine, life, whatever. Let's get started. I'm gonna go to bed. One big thing I do right when I go to bed, I get all my stuff together, and this is what I highly recommend you to do if any of you guys are going to college or even just high school or whatever. Get your stuff all kind of put together in one spot and all that. The only reason why I don't have my computer immediately in my bag is just to play the fan noise, and then of course to keep my wallet. All my stuff is pretty much in one spot, which I highly recommend that you do. Alright, so now it's time to get in the car. Yep. One important thing I do so it doesn't keep me distracted, I take my phone, take it out of my pocket, leave it to charge so it gets the charge that it needs, but also it just gets it out of my way. I have more room to operate. We are here at the Cumberlands. Just got here. So what I do in the morning, of course, since I get here normally a little later, sometimes I get here really early, but I have to look and search for a parking spot because these parking spots are all taken up really fast. Alright, so up here, studio, the first things I'm going to do is unlock the door. Of course, got my key here. You can get the key for the office over there, which is where I normally tend to work. Here we go. Now, of course, what I do, especially since my first class is online today, what I'm just going to do is set up the computer, and that's about it for at least what I'm doing right now. Next thing that I do is, of course, get some schoolwork done, get some reading done. A lot of my reading's online, so most of the time I don't have to do a lot of stuff when it comes to reading. It's mainly that there's just a lot of chapters and the online stuff that you have to read. Pick up my notebook so I can write down notes about the classes, things that are due, write down things about some of my projects I have to do for some of my classes, some of my writing assignments, so take notes for everything. I highly recommend taking notes because even if you don't look at them again, it still is more likely for you to remember it. Especially in filmmaking. One thing that I like to do when I'm making movies in particular is, of course, get a notebook and write down each individual scene, take a certain amount of takes, and then put a check mark or cross it out or whatever to signify, okay, that particular scene, scene 32 or whatever, that scene is done. Alright, so I'm about to start my class soon. My class starts at 12:15, right now it's 12:02, so I'm just sitting here waiting for my class. Get off, I have 10 minutes to get to my other class. Pretty much how my day goes. Alright, out of class, and I'm gonna go get some lunch. Can I get a chicken and cheese quesadilla? Alright, I'm back in the office. Alright, I just got done eating. Now it's time to do some work. Someone did comment on my HMC 150 video. Basically, they were kind of upset about the, not mad, but like kind of disappointed that the screen on the camera is not that great. And I think they got this, which is a monitor that I had mounted on the camera, which I'm going to be doing, got this confused with the teleprompter. I don't know why, but I guess there was some kind of confusion there. But the point is that it's a little bit easier to figure out what you're looking at when you have monitors like this. So what I'm gonna do is grab one of these bricks right here, these batteries, shove it on there, nice and good. Now I just gotta find an HDMI cord because I have no idea where any of them are. The thing is, we got so many cords, and a lot of times people are using different cords and stuff like that. Right now, one of the other co-workers is using some of the equipment for the spotlight event that we have at the college pretty regularly. Of course, in here, this is our audio editing lab that we have. So there's bound to be some HDMI cords. And yes, there is one. Perfect. The nice thing is, most of our HDMI cords that we use for the cameras are kind of long. This one's really nice and short. So, of course, if you've never gotten a tour of the audio editing lab, we got all kinds of junk over here. Well, not junk, all kinds of great equipment that we can use. Headphones, all kinds of headphones. Personally, one of my favorites are these Sony headphones right here. I know it's really dark. There's not enough light, but we got a lot of headphones, a lot of different microphones, all kinds of microphones, and just switchers, bits and bobs, all kinds of stuff you can use to do a podcast or whatever you're doing. So now I got the HDMI cord. Now I just need one more component. Here we go. I need one of these little mounts. There we go. And the image looks actually really good too. So let me show you guys. So this is the image that comes. Let me zoom it in. That comes directly from it, and you can see it's blown out. And it's harder to see what's going on. Now, obviously, since I'm filming from the camera onto the monitor right there, it's going to be a little harder to see anyways. But still, it's not the best. You can still tell what's going on, obviously, and you can kind of help adjust it, but if you go down a little too much, you can see on here it's a whole lot better. And of course, you got more room since the monitor's larger. It's just you can see more, and it's better when it comes to focusing. The problem really is when you're trying to more or less run it and gun it. So if you're running and gunning with this thing, you know, documentary work, and you're not always using a tripod, and you just want to hold it or whatever, this is, of course, obviously more cumbersome. Cumbersome. Of course, it's not that heavy, which is great. It's not very heavy, so it's not gonna add a lot of weight, but it's just gonna be bulky and in the way. So what I'd recommend if you're running and gunning with this, take both. So put this in a bag or whatever, and then take this with you. Run and gun with it, and then if there's a spot where you need to put it on the tripod, keep the little tripod clip on the bottom, slap that thing on there, put that on top, and then connect that, and there you go. Also, carry extra batteries, because this does drain the battery fairly quickly. Alright, you can see how everything's set up and all that. Love this camera. I can't express how much I love it, and just the look in general. But, anyways, the video, that, I'm going to be shooting hopefully soon. I don't know when exactly, but the reason why I'm setting it up like this is my professor got in contact with a church, and they wanted to film a documentary-esque video or promotional video, I think, for their church. That's why I'm trying to set it up like this. So what I can do is get a behind-the-scenes shot with this camera with the 10 to 18 mil lens, which you're watching the video on right now. Of course, I just love using this, so it also gives me the opportunity to use this if they're fine with me using this camera. Now, obviously, if they ask for another type of camera, like one of the Blackmagics, which could be perfectly understandable, I'll probably use those then. Yeah. Other than that, most of the day, I either work on stuff like this, testing out stuff to make sure it worked properly, or testing out, like, let's say we get some new cameras, test that out, you know. First, I'm gonna power this down just so it doesn't waste power, and move it out of the way. So that's out of the way, and I'm gonna close this up. this one's a little finicky on this side. So what I have to do is just keep all the boxes and stuff organized, all that stuff. Alright, so now I'm gonna go back and get some work done. Some schoolwork. So obviously during this part of the day, this is like more of my work part where I'm either working on cameras, filming YouTube videos, maybe editing some stuff for the media studio. Also got another project lined up as well for basically filming a promotional video for the studio, which I'm also getting a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. All of it, to be said, is going to culminate to become behind the scenes footage for this channel, of course, and of course I'm gonna get some behind the scenes stuff for the digital media studio to advertise the stuff they do there. Basically help them basically just say, hey, we're here, we have cameras you can, borrow or whatever and use for your projects and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, because we don't get a lot of traffic here. This area is fairly kind of unknown, more or less. I mean, there are students that do take this class. Most of the students, and I'm pretty sure you can probably hear it in the background, I'd guess. You hear that trumpet or whatever in the background. Right below me and slightly across the hall is where the music area is what I call it. Where like the band does their stuff, they practice all the time. People, we have like little apparently cubicles or whatever you'd like to call them, like quiet rooms where people can play their instruments, which is really cool if you're, into playing instruments. I know I'm not personally, that's just not my thing. But the fact that they have that, though, that you have your own personal room to practice in is really nice. But yeah, they go through all hours of the day. Like early in the morning when I get here, they're doing some stuff. Maybe not as many people. It's more of when I leave. So when I leave, they start really playing some music and stuff. I guess the band all gets together and they start playing all kinds of music. They start playing the Incredibles music from the movies. They start playing like the Indiana Jones stuff, Star Wars, you name it. Back when it was Christmas, they were playing all kinds of Christmas songs. It's nice. Although it can be kind of annoying during the day when you're trying to concentrate on something or film a podcast in here, because I filmed podcasts in here using some of these microphones, so I'm like standing here talking with some of my guys that are, on the podcast. You just hear someone playing the trumpet and like just right out of nowhere they start playing the Star Wars theme or something like that, and I'm just sitting here hoping that I don't get copyright striked. Anyways, point is, this time is the work time, so I'm gonna get started on some work. And yep, got everything put up, so that should be it. Everything's kind of organized now. There's not a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up right now, especially since some of that stuff is gone for Spotlight. So since that's the case, there's not much work that I need to do right now. Yeah, I guess that's it for right now. I guess I'll start heading home. So what I'll do right now, I'm gonna start packing up. What I do since my day is done, and I have my work app, so I'm just gonna check out. Alright, now since I'm checked out, what I'm gonna do is start cleaning up the area, throw away anything. And I'm just gonna pack up the computer, grab my bag, start shoving everything in there. Get my theater book, make sure it slides in there, along with the computer, and then the camera. See you later. Alright, so now it's time to head home. So, of course, I get in the car at 5. It's probably right now about 5:20, mainly because of the stuff I've had to do with the camera and explaining stuff, but normally I come home at 5. I start packing up at 4, all that, but of course, you know, YouTube video takes longer. Alright, I'm back. Finally got home. I had to refill the car with gas. Adjusted. And now it's time to get some work done. Well, actually, it's time to relax a little bit. What I do during the day, just relax a little bit and then get back to work. So, let's go.
Okay, so I forgot to record some audio bits for this, and since this is technically the end of the video, basically what I do at the end of the day is I just kind of watch YouTube videos, look over some of my schoolwork and stuff like that, mark down anything that has been done, and just all that kind of stuff, and then basically preparing for bed and repeating the same thing the next morning, more or less. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.